Hey, before we get today's show rolling, I'm going to ask you for a little help, and all it will cost you is a few seconds of your time. So Free Music Olympia, the nonprofit behind Schurler Sunday's concert series, is in the running for a grant that will fund 3 years of summer concerts in West Olympia. We need your vote. All you have to do is text the word Olympia to 877-409-5525 before September 15th, 2025, and your vote will be counted. Again, text the word Olympia to this number, 877-409-5525. Or if you prefer, you can find instructions to vote online at freemusicolympia.org. Spread the word and let's bring the music. Free Music Olympia is a nonprofit powered by Shunpike. Low Profile receives in-kind support from Three Magnets Brewing Company, San Francisco Street Bakery, Schwartz's Deli, and Old School Pizzeria in Olympia, Washington. The show is also funded by folks like you via patreon.com/lowprofile. Again, that's patreon.com/lowprofile. Thanks for listening, and on with today's show.
Hello, everybody. Hello. My name is Wayne. I'm in the band The Flaming Lips. We're playing later on tonight. All right. So anyway, I want to thank you people for showing up so early. You will be rewarded for doing so because you're going to see this first band play. They're a real fine band, and I saw them play about 1.5 years ago. They came to Oklahoma City. They played with Fugazi, and I always show up early to see the opening bands, as you good people obviously do, right? And I quite enjoyed them, and I must admit I was so taken with their set that I left fairly early into Fugazi's. That should be no judgment on the quality of Fugazi's set, though. I'm old and I got tired, I must admit. I'm going to have them come up on stage. Their name is Iku. They're from Olympia, Washington. They have some records available back there. They're on K Records. And you may notice on their records their name is spelled I-C-U, but tonight their name is spelled I-Q-U, and they changed it about 6 months ago from what's on their records to what they're saying that they're being called now. And but either way, I think what they do is fairly interesting, and I think you guys will feel the same. So if you will, please welcome Iku.
That was Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lips introducing a performance by the Olympia band Iku, spelled I-Q-U, live at the Cat's Cradle in Carborough, North Carolina back in 1999. That was recorded by Mike Koenig, who was at the show. You can find more of Mike's live videos on his YouTube channel at Vacant Moon. Formed in the mid-1990s by Japanese immigrants Kento Oiwa and Michiko Swiggs, Iku was a group unlike anything folks in Olympia, or any place else for that matter, had ever witnessed. I spoke to Kento in a hotel room on assignment from the Olympia Music History Project, where this interview was first published. Beyond his involvement in Iku, Kento was also an active DJ and event organizer in the Olympia music scene throughout the 1990s. As you can hear now, he's a killer theremin player too. Check this out. Kento also helped organize the storied Yo-Yo A-Go-Go festivals that filled downtown with people from all over the world. This episode's been gussied up with some tasty music clips for your enjoyment. If you like, you can read the full transcript and dig a little deeper into this story and other stories connected to it at olympiamusichistory.org. Let's hear my interview with Kento Oiwa from the Olympia Music History Project. is March 9th, 2025, and I am in Olympia, Washington with Kento Oiwa. Kento, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Kento Oiwa here.
So, you lived in Olympia during what time period?
I came here summer of 1990, and then I left fall of 99. Just before it got to 10-year mark, I got out, yeah.
Okay. Why did you move to Olympia and from where?
Initially came to Olympia for the Evergreen State College from Japan, and town called Chiba, right next to Tokyo. So, yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
How did you hear about Evergreen?
That memory is kind of hazy, but I met a gentleman, so that guy back in Tokyo, and I don't even remember his name. I think he was a retired professor from University of Washington, and we hit it off, and I think we were actually friends. So I can't remember his name anymore. But I was thinking about going to school in the States. At the time, there was a whole interdisciplinary study thing, was a buzz thing, right? No, you don't have to pick a major. You can study whatever you want. You can design your own studies. Like, that sounded really attractive to me. So he gave me some recommendation, like Hampshire. I think Reed has some of those programs too. Then Evergreen State College is the only state college that I could afford. Yeah. And I had no idea about any of the music scene and all that. Came to Evergreen, and it was all hippies around me. Yeah, I went dove straight into that. That I still remember. Yeah.
Were you involved in music in Japan?
I had a couple bands when I was a teenager. My first gig was I was in the Beatles cover band. Yeah, I still have a cassette tape of that.
Which Beatle were you?
I was George.
Okay.
Yeah, barely sang, but mostly guitar. Yeah. Always George. Yeah.
So how did you get involved in Olympia's music scene once you were a student here?
Yeah. Well, I think it was a 90 and 91, very exciting time, Northwest. But just the beginning of grunge, what you call it. Yeah, so being in Evergreen, we had a lot of parties and shows. And still, my favorite story is seeing Nirvana at Maud's party. Hey, do they still call that Maud's?
The mods, yeah.
Those duplexes back on
the sort of dorms.
Yeah, Nirvana party at Maud's. That was the first time I saw them. It's like, oh my God, that was yeah. Yeah, people are like, had all the windows open, and they were like hanging from the window pane, and so that they don't fall. I mean, it's on ground floor, that jam packed, and yeah, that was the first. And then a lot of good bands played, and there was a Nirvana show at the library too. I think that was a 91. That was also a good one, and a bunch of other bands, and the North Shore Surf Clubs. Yeah, that was all happening. I missed the international pop underground because it happened in the summertime. I think it was back in Japan for that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was a beginning, and then I think it was 92 or so. I want to say 92 or 93. And I had local bands with my college friends and all that, playing in the house parties and stuff.
Do you remember the names?
Yes, Chrome Mary.
Chrome Mary.
Because we lived in this house on the west side. We called it Florida. Because on the front lawn, we had lots of those yard ornament, like a pink flamingo and all this crazy stuff. And then we had a Virgin Mary statue. One drunk night, somebody spray paint in the silver. So that was the band name, Chrome Mary. We did it was fun. We played a lot. Yeah, did some X covers and stuff. Yeah. So doing that, I think I met this gentleman named Jeffrey Barton. He was a technical director for the OFS. And then they were just starting to have a backstage show and looking for his assistant to do front of house sound. And I had some experience in working on that sound before. So it's like, all right, perfect. And that's how I got involved in the whole downtown music art scene through OFS. Yeah.
Great. So
Yeah.
through OFS.
Yeah, that was when all the Olympia bands, of Unwound, Carp, Link, all of those guys are starting out. And they all play at the backstage. That's how we all met. Yeah.
And how long did you continue at the
I
backstage?
think I did that from when they started doing it up to 97 or so. And my band started touring more. So I was never here in Olympia more than a few months at the time. But every time I'm back, and I would, I remember doing it. Yeah. There were some good shows there.
So I know that you were heavily involved in the beginnings of Yo-Yo A Go-Go.
Yeah.
What was your in there? Who was your contact?
Well, I knew Pat Mary he had a yo-yo studio up on the Capitol Theater. So back then, how yo-yo recording worked was touring band who played in Olympia, and a lot of them did. It was between Seattle and Portland. Usually they play Friday night or Saturday night or Sunday matinee. And then Sunday afternoon, Pat would record them for free because he has a studio and everything, snake and everything set up from that studio upstairs. And they would just play on the stage they played the night before. So I started being his assistant, helping out all the recording, putting up a bunch of those yo-yo comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wasn't involved in the first one, but the one after that, I think Throw, the blue ones, like when I started helping him record stuff. And then he came up with the idea of doing a festival. He's like, hey, that's great. Let's do it. And then he got together with Michiko. She was a promoter back then. She used to put on a bunch of shows and backstage, and that's how I knew her. And in the beginning, it really was just three of us. And then the first Yo-Yo Go-Go, we met Pat Castello. He just was a volunteer and helped us doing everything from ticket booth and emceeing and all that. And that's when we became four of us. He just kept coming back to us, and I think he ended up taking much bigger role for the second Yo-Yo Go-Go 97. I was mostly involved in 94, but in 97, I was already doing my band and all that. So I still was a part of it, but didn't do much of a booking part, except all those Japanese bands who come to Olympia.
Right.
Naturally, like I'll help them out. They will stay at my house. Then 99, Yo-Yo Go-Go, I was pretty much out of it. My band played, so that was that. I think we were in the middle of tour. We were on the road for pretty much whole year. So I remember coming back here in summertime to play in Yo-Yo Go-Go. So I wasn't really part of the planning part of the 99. 94 was my favorite, because back then, there was no such a thing. There was a Lollapalooza just starting happening, right?
Right.
But that was more of like a traveling group of bands. But this sort of multi-day, all these bands, I think every show was $5.
Mm-hmm.
No band got paid more than $500. I still remember that. Yeah. Beck got $500 for Beck, $500 for Yola Tango. That's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
$500 for Rancid. That's crazy, right?
Uh-huh.
Even at the time, that was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking with Pat Malley yesterday, and he was just telling me how incredible it was that you were bringing in talent from Japan into Olympia. Like we just all of a sudden, you bridged that gap.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about who you brought over here and what those experiences were like for working with them?
Yeah, right. There was definitely this Olympia Japan connection started around mid-90s, right? Yeah. The one key person of that I have to give credit is this guy Shigeki Nishimura, and he went by Nishi. He had a small indie label in Tokyo called RBF, Rebel Beat Factory. He himself was a musician back in the 80s and very successful Tokyo indie rock band. But by then he was managing bands. And then the first two bands, Japanese band who came to Olympia, Bloodthirsty Butchers and Corpus Grinders. and Nishi managed both of them. And Nishi and Calvin goes way back to 80s. When the first time, only time, Be Happening went to Japan, the infamous story, I don't know if you heard.
Please.
Be Happening played, the only shown in Tokyo was in high school. But what they played was, they met some Japanese high school girls, and so they invited their school to play this private all-girls school. But what they didn't know was, it was totally unofficial. So these girls met them scattered outside the school, smuggled them into the school. This is after all the classes are done, and they had to like hide from teachers and quietly go into the one classroom, and then there was all these girls in uniform sitting there and waiting for them. And in front of them, Calvin and Heather played. And through that tour, Calvin met Nishi. And that's how they struck a friendship, and they kept in touch. And right before Yo-Yo Go-Go, I was at the Bodok News on the 4th Avenue. Maybe it was before your time, huh? There's what is that? The weird taxidermy shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that used to be the Bodok News. Yeah. It's a little newsstand. And I remember I was just reading magazine there. And that's when Calvin came up and said, "Hey, we have some Japanese bands coming over here. Do you want to help?" So it's like, okay. And that was those two bands. But it was a pre-Yo-Yo Go-Go. I think they came to do some shows in here in Seattle. That's when I met Nishi. So when we were doing a Yo-Yo Go-Go, I said, we're going to bring them back. And that's how they came back. And then they did more recording. I think they had a single out on K.
Bloodthirsty Butchers.
Yeah, they have, and Corpus Grande too. I think it was maybe it was a spring. It's like one of the yellow cover, and they had friends in Seattle too. So I would drive them to Seattle, do few shows in Seattle, and I think in general for the indie rock punk scene, Japan was sort of like everyone was checking out what was going on there at the time. Right, there's a whole other Japanese noise bands like Bottoms and all that. People are really getting into it.
Yeah.
So in Seattle, there was a museum called Koka, Center of Contemporary Art, Koka. Yeah, they had this event called Japanorama. Between 94, first Yo-Yo and the second Yo-Yo, this Japanorama thing happened. I think it was 4 bands from Tokyo came. Not through Kei or not through Nishi or me. And the bands were Seagull Screaming Kissa Kissa and Kirihito. Another one I can't remember, and then Boris, who has become very successful now.
Sure, yeah.
That was mid-90s. So I helped that show that I met them. So when we did the 97 Yo-Yo Go-Go, we brought them all back again. So,
okay.
So that's sort of how we started growing. Yeah, that was crazy. They all stay at my house. House up on the hill by just past the Olympia newspaper. We call the Hilltop House. Yeah, we had a basement. That's where we used to practice. Yeah, it's a beautiful house.
Did your house host concerts as well?
We did not sure. We might have done once, but we did a more of a DJ party.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had a turntable on the sound system, so we would just throw kind of like, I guess, house rave, I guess,
Yeah.
back then. And we would those rent parties, we also drinks and pay the rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way to go.
Yeah. Do they still do that? Do they still have house parties?
Yeah, they still have house parties. I haven't been to one where they were charging at the door to cover rent.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. That's something that they could definitely bring back.
I don't think we cover at the door. It was just a drink.
Uh-huh.
We also had beers and all that. Totally illegal, but
Oh, sure.
But anyway, the Japanese band. Yeah, so that's how that started. And then this guy Nishi lived in Tokyo. So he knew all these bands anyway, Morrison, all these other bands from just being in Tokyo scene. So that's how sort of network grew. And that's when he started bringing Olympia bands to Japan. So all the K bands who did a Japan tour, it was a thing to do a Japan tour. Like everybody went to Japan.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just because of this guy Nishi helping out. Yeah, I think them Nakaraku must go on a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carp did, Unwound did. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, Vivian's over there.
Yeah, that's right.
And for some reason, his band didn't go. I thought they did. I thought the Behead the Prophet must have gone in Japan, but I guess they didn't. Yeah. Are you familiar with the band?
Yeah, Behead the Prophet.
The Noro Shall
Noah,
Rave.
yeah.
Great band. Yeah.
So you were a DJ around town.
Mhm.
Fairly popular DJ.
I don't know if what consists of being popular.
Well revered in the community. People have told me personally that they
great.
really enjoyed your
That's
DJ
great.
sets,
I
your
appreciate that.
mixtapes.
Yeah, I did, back then, Yeah, because we had a little club here called Thekra.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what it is now. Is the building still there?
I think right now it's a gym.
Oh, it's a gym. Yeah. I mean, the whole business moved to Brotherhood, right? Basically, it's the same owner. But yeah, Thekra, I think, was the first DJ club. I got my first job after college as a janitor on Thekra.
Oh, wow.
That was my first job, like steady paying gig. Yeah, I did that for a while. And then there was opening for the Tuesday night. So that's when I started doing acid jazz night, jazz and funk night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a weekly?
Weekly, every Tuesday. Yeah. Every Tuesday.
Did that turn into a lucrative situation
I don't
for you?
remember, but I think back then, we never made money. You know what I mean?
You didn't really need a lot of money.
No. I do remember my rent was $150. I lived at the track house. That's all burned out, right? A couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my rent was $150. Yeah, like it wasn't really making money was never in anybody's mind.
Yeah,
it's just a fun thing to do for free beer. If you get $20, $30, it's great. At least at the time, people I knew, everyone seemed to go out every night. There's always something happen every night. And then that's around the time, when the term trip hop and downbeat thing was starting happening. And I think Seattle promoter guys called the Tasty Show. They started having the nights here in Olympia at Thekra with DJ Riz. He's a KEXP DJ now. So I started hanging out with those guys. And then somehow I started moving toward doing all drum and bass thing. And then we had a little crew called ODB as Olympia Drum and Bass. And we used to throw parties, sometime at my house, sometime backstage Capitol Theater. And yeah, fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you DJ on the radio at all?
Chaos, yes. I had a night for a short time. I totally don't remember how it came about. It was a really late night. I think I did it for less than a year, way less than that. I think it's just one quarter in a school. Something. I remember just playing a bunch of what you call shoegazer music now. But in like real time around 1990, 91. So when on my birthday, Valentine and all that was just doing it real time. And I was really into that. There weren't not too many people here quite caught up on it, because I think grunge was happening and was just going too strong. And every time I find somebody who even knew who my birthday Valentine was, we would have like immediate bonding thing, So I think it was one of a weeknight, probably like a midnight show or something. And I would just play those on the radio for a few hours.
Who trained you?
I don't remember. I think it was Don. Don was still there. What's his name? Don Yates? I think all chaos director guy. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's all hazy now, but I still do remember sitting on the board and old looking turntable and some old looking mixing board and their library of music. It's really pretty much that was the reason why I wanted to do it, to have access to that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a gold mine.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I used to borrow the CD from Chaos so I can tape it
Uh-huh.
and bring it back. And yeah, it was grew my tape collection. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have mentioned briefly in passing your band, but we haven't. I think that's a good thing to come up to, the forming of Iku.
That's true. Yes.
How did that group come to be?
Originally started, I think, mid-90s, 96, 7. Around the same time I was doing a DJ and I was running a sound at the Capitol Theater. I got myself a little 12-channel Mackie portable mixer. And that's when I started getting into dub, like Mac Professor and Scratch Perry and all that, those delays and reverb and all that stuff. So my initial idea was using a mixing board as an instrument with a delay. So everything coming in there so I can send it to delay and reverb and control it like an instrument, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing in the house parties with, I think originally it was Van Stevens, the Olympia guy. He played bass. I think at the one time we had some home player too, at some live job, just different people, me and Van doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just playing some like sample beat or something, just loop it. And then Van played the bass line and then I would just add some sound from a turntable stuff on top of it. Random thing. It's all improvised. And at the parties, everyone's drinking, everyone's all dancing. And yeah, that was the sort of beginning of it. And then at some point, I think it started forming to be more like a band. And so when I lived in the Hilltop house, across the street was this typewriter shop. And then above that, an apartment was where Michiko lived with Kaneko, who started Dumpster Value, and the original Dumpster Value. And so I was friends with Kaneko, and I said, but then one night we were supposed to go happy hour, and she didn't feel like, so she canceled on me. When I went to pick her up, she's like, I don't feel like going. And that's when Michiko was like, I go. And that was like first time I hung out with her.
Okay.
And it's one of those we started talking music and we just went deep. All the electronic music and the jazz stuff I liked. Like she was all into it too. It's like, holy shit, where have you been all my life?
Yeah.
And we immediately became really good friends. And we started hanging out. And then we took a trip to Japan, maybe in the following year, 97, 6, 7. Yeah, that's like when it really solidified our friendship. And then also seeing all these cool Japanese bands because I knew all these indie rock kids from Yogogo and all that. So they would take us to all these cool shows and very creative, different, There's so many bands experimenting with like a sample beat, electronic stuff with punk rock ethos, And like when the term electronica was still not quite there yet, right? Yeah. So that was really, really fresh. And that's when Michiko and I was like, the thing I've been doing, but back then we called ICU, intensive care unit, but just ICU. And she's like, you want to do it? It's like, yeah, let's do it. And I guess that's when we became Iku as what it is now. And we didn't even have that much equipment. All I had was this like Roland portable toy sampler. But we sampled, I think, but up to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
The little button called the MS one. sample a beat and loop it, play through the big speaker, and it sounded good,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we start laying down the instruments on it. And then at the time, my roommate was Aaron Hartman. And he had an all-time vision. I think around the same time he was starting to play with Arrington.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's really cool band with the stand-up bass, right? So I was like, what if you play with us with the stand-up bass? And we started playing, and then it sort of clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely defined the sound of that era.
Yeah, it was different. I think it was weird different. And then I had a theremin too. I think that was us. You add the sample beat and then put a stand-up bass and then theremin. Of course, people are like, wow, these guys are weird. These are the different.
This is Low Profile with Mark Lee Morrison, and the song you're hearing right now is Can't You Even Remember That by Iku from their album Choto Mate A Moment. Today we're listening to a special radio edit of my interview with musician Kento Oiwa for the Olympia Music History Project, a nonprofit dedicated to preserving firsthand stories of Olympia's influential music scene. More stories connected to this one can be found at olympiamusichistory.org. So there wasn't like a whole lot of bands in Olympia with the theremin.
I don't think so. I don't think so, yeah.
You were primarily studying electronic music at Evergreen?
I wouldn't say I was studying because it's Evergreen, right? So I guess
you were working on getting good at what you
did that, yeah. There was a teacher, Peter Randle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Peter Randle.
Yeah,
Sure.
I took his class. Just like everybody in Olympia, anybody who wanted to do studio work, they all study from Peter,
Mm-hmm.
And that was very inspirational. Yeah, and I took a couple music class, but it didn't mean that much. Peter was great. The whole studio time and the Evergreen did a lot, but all other music class at the Evergreen was kind of boring.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, Evergreen is about what you do with your own personal time, like your independent study.
That's really what it was. That media checkout. That was that because you get your hands on the equipment.
Yeah.
Right. That's the best part. Yeah. Yeah.
So theremin, how did that come up? When did you develop an interest in that?
That question has come up many times over years. So
sure.
Yeah. In mid-90s, there was this quarterly publication called the Research with the Research magazine. That was a very cool magazine that each issue had some theme with all these different writers and doing a piece. And then the one publication was called Incredibly Strange Music. It was all about different music.
Yeah.
And then there was a whole piece about theremin there. That's the first time I learned it. And then I saw a music video of the Osaka band Boredoms, crazy noise rock band. In the video, the singer Aya Matsuka is holding this little box with an antenna, and it's this little portable theremin they made in Japan at the time. Ishibashi made it. And making that noise, I remember thinking, it's like, oh, that's the thing, that's the theremin. So I still remember 94 Yo-Yo Go-Go when Nishi was coming with a Corpus and Brasashi Butchers. I asked him to get me one of those little toy theremin.
Yeah.
And then he did. And that was the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, now it's coming back to me. I got two of them. It was because a friend of mine, Sarah Lorimer, at the time she was dating Pat Mary. Very, very cool woman. She was really into the research magazine too. So we both knew about the theremin. So she said, I want one too. So we got two. Nishi brought two back for me, one for me and one for Sarah. And then after Yo-Yo Go-Go, shortly after the movie came out, it's called The Theremin, The Sound Odyssey. Great film, by the way. So it played at OFS. And so we turned into an event that Sarah and I, after the movie, did a theremin duet concert.
Oh, wow.
We called our band called Rockmore. I named after that theremin.
Clara
Clara
Rockmore.
Rockmore. Yeah,
Mhm.
I similar. That was a fun time. Yeah. So that was the whole beginning. And then I think the movie helped to revive the interest. So that Moog started producing those theremin again. And so I was able to get the real theremin with the 2 antennas. And
Mhm.
yeah, that was that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then since then, I met the filmmaker of that movie, Stephen Martin. Very nice guy. He used to come to our show, and he lives in LA, and we became really good friends. He was an actor. First time in Richmond High.
Okay.
The twins in that movie, he's one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, the whole subculture of theremin is crazy. It's a hard instrument to play, but yeah. So that has become my thing. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there was the symposium, 10 theremins at Disney Concert Hall.
Oh, well, you did your study. It was a Russian theme event. And then the headlining act was the 10 theremin orchestra, which they tried to do back in 20s in Carnegie Hall, or that original theremin time.
Mhm.
But they didn't think too much into the technical side of it, so it was just ended up in huge chaos.
Yeah.
Or everyone's magnetic field interfering with each other. So somebody had an idea to do that more well thought out, planned way in a bigger stage, and then reached out to Disney Hall. I remember I was living in LA at the time. I remember hearing about that on the radio. So, oh, that sounds cool. And then that day I got a call. Somebody found out about me, and they, hey, you want to join? All these thereminists flew in from all over New York, some from Austria, Boston, San Francisco. They had sent us the music sheet to practice. We all had our part. We had 1 day to rehearse at the Disney Hall, and then we had a show. If you type in like a 21st century theremin orchestra, Disney Hall or something like that, it pops up. Yeah.
What a historic event.
I know it was. It was. It really was. Since then, the woman from New York, Dorit Chrysler is her name. She has become prominent theremin figure. She has this thing called the New York Theremin Society. And then she does a theremin workshop regularly with all kids and grown up. And yeah. The one of the theremin players. So she's the one who had this idea of doing a Disney Hall. And then another guy from New York, Rob Schwimmer, this jazz piano guy, New York jazz guy, but amazing theremin player. And he was a theremin player for Simon and Garfunkel on their reunion tour in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was in the band.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Back to Iku.
Yeah.
So the trio,
Yeah,
you, Michiko,
trio. Mhm.
and Aaron. How did that go in Olympia? Who were you playing with? What kind of venues were you?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Hazy, I know we played some backstage show. I think really we got it going when Unwound took us on tour. Yeah, we didn't have any record out. We just had a little cassette tape of our demo songs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, you want to tour with us? It's like, okay, but only part of it. Only Florida on the East Coast. Okay, so we had to make our way to the Florida.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we drove straight, and our first show out of Northwest was Memphis. I remember that. Drove straight to Memphis, played the show, and a couple more shows around there, and then met up with them in the Florida, did the whole around the Florida thing, and then go up on the East Coast all the way to New York, and I think we did Boston too. And our mom was pretty big by then, so we'll be playing in front of a few hundred people everywhere we go,
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. And that's how, in a New York show, how we met a booking agent by name of Robin Taylor, the ex-Seattle woman. And she was booking Modest Mouse at the time. And she was looking for more Northwest band. And she liked what we had. So that was a big push. So we had a booking agent even before first record came out. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And so you come back from tour
Yeah.
and you've got sort of a fresh body of work
Yeah.
that you've been polishing up.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the recording of the first album?
Yeah. God.
Where was it
We
recorded?
did that at Davno Cardiff studio. It was a Calvin Johnson studio. The upstairs of OK building. So where Earcroach is
the
right
Cherry
now.
Loft.
Yeah. So the K's office part was in the front part, that little Spanish stucco looking cute
Mm-hmm.
from the building. But in the back was that warehouse where all the records were. And then above that was this gigantic hall. And that's where Calvin had his studio. That's where we recorded like a band instead of going straight into the Pro Tool or that. We would just use his old mixing board. We would record the sample drums as a drum and into a magnetic tape. And then everyone put a bass and we would start tracking my guitar and all that. Yeah.
So electronic music primarily, but no computers.
No computer editing and none of that. Yeah. None of that. Yeah. Yeah. I think there was a magic to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you guys were probably pioneering in the field of like electroacoustic.
I guess that. Yeah. Yeah.
In the punk scene anyway.
Yeah. With the little Roland MS1 4-second sampler. Yeah. Yeah.
So what followed the first record? What happened? What was the reaction? What did you see as a result of that?
I think the record did very well. Yeah, especially on the West Coast. Yeah, we did a lot of tours. I think we were unique enough. Many of our friends or other bands will hear about us, and then they want to take us on the road. Yeah, because we are compact. We don't have a drummer. We didn't have a drummer, so it's easier to have us on as an opener because there's no extra drums on the stage too.
Yeah.
Right? So we're pretty compact and just three of us, and usually we bring somebody as a roadie. 4 of us in a van, drove around everywhere. And then having Robin Taylor as a booking was also helpful because she has her own band. So she can come up with a tour within giving us a spot. Yeah. Our one tour was good. And then we toured with a Seattle band called Hovercraft. So instrumental psychedelic rock band. That was a really fun tour too. And then when we go on the tour, I think it was a Hovercraft tour in Texas, we split it off a little bit and then we played with the Fugazi for a couple nights. I think Calvin must have helped to book the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we played with the Fugazi in Oklahoma City, in the audience was Wayne Coyne of Flaming Lips and Stephen Draws, and they really liked us. So they reached out to Robin Taylor to put us on the bill. It was a spring of 99, I think, or fall of 98 around that time. They had this thing called the Music Against Brain Degeneration.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was them, Sebado, Robin Hitchcock, Sonic Boom from Spaceman 3, and Cornelius from Japan.
Oh, wow.
And then us doing this review. The whole idea was they would broadcast live through FM radio. So people can get portable radio at the show. They can rent it. Well, they would just, they didn't have to pay, but they give portable radio to every single audience. So they can listen to in their ear while they're watching the band.
Oh, yeah. And hear like
and they can go to the bathroom, they can go outside, and music will follow you.
Oh, wow.
That was sort of their idea.
That's very Flaming Lips.
It is because they already had done the whole parking lot experiment thing by then. Then they for the CD Zyrika of the 4 CDs playing at the same time was already out. So this was their next situation for that.
Yeah. They were all about happenings.
All about happening. Yeah, that was really the highlight of our band, and that tour was so much fun. Yeah.
And Aaron eventually left the group.
Yeah, so that's end of the tour. But also, this is like 2 years of constant touring. I think we put a lot of strain on the relationship, as you can imagine. I think it got to the point we had to split. There are many different versions of stories. I'm not getting into that, but it was a heartbreaker. Yeah, and that's also when we all wanted to get out of Olympia. And me and Michiko wanted to go north. And I wanted to go south in Portland. Yeah, all of that was part of this band coming to the point of like ceasing to exist. Yeah. But Michiko and I kept going. As you can imagine, Aaron didn't like that.
Yeah. And then you kept performing live too.
We did, yeah.
Different rotating members.
Rotating members. We became just, we tried a different bass player from LA, Sherry Ozeki. We did one tour with her. That was fun. But she didn't want to keep doing the band. She's now on the whole doing the music sound post-production for lots of movies. Very successful. Yeah, so in Seattle, we became two-piece for a while, and then we started experimenting with live drummers, and that was so much fun. Yeah, and then our music has evolved quite a bit. Well, it became a lot more electronic, I would say, than our first album. Yeah.
Right, the first one is very leaning more into dub,
and there's definitely lo-fi feel to that, right? Yeah, that way it was recorded too. Yeah. And then in Seattle, I got more heavily involved in the DJ part of it. Yeah.
How did you record the second one? How different was that experience?
Yeah, that was very different because by then we were more deep into the desktop software recording. So we had Pro Tools and Ableton Live and all that stuff. So yeah, we just track by track, we did it on our computers pretty much. Okay. And the guitar and all that, we were just mic in our house. Yeah, just in our living room or Michiko's apartment. And we just tracked all those and they went down to Portland to mix, and I'm spacing out his name. He did a bunch of Elliott Smith record. He had his own home studio, and through people we met him. So we went to Portland, stayed there for a week to the mix down. We did all our shows, and then we started talking to different labels, and there's a whole up and down thing about that side of music business, right? Like there are different labels who were interested in it. The whole then come business talk and contract and the fine print and all that. We got really burnt out. So we ended up with that. A friend of ours in local Seattle called the Sonic Boom Records. At the time, there's still a record store in Seattle called Sonic Boom, but it's a whole different owner now. But original Sonic Boom also had a small record label. I think they did some disc out stuff too. They wanted to put out, and so that's what we did. Yeah.
How did you find your relationship to the city of Olympia as far as fostering you as an artist, as a creative person in the 90s?
Yeah, it's just that.
Was it hospitable?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a really good time. I mean, I feel like that was best time of my life in that 9 years in here. I think it's all combination of personally where I was, and then also what was going on around in the town. And I think it really comes down to this affordability, right? And,
Yeah, sure.
And the Evergreen's a big part of it. A lot of creative people come from all over the world, right? Just gather in this little town, and having the Capitol Theater, OFS, as a cultural hub in town, right? Small enough, if you do something creative, soon enough, you know, pretty much everybody who's doing that stuff. And it's a constant inspiration from each other.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that's that. That is, I think, the best part of the Olympia. It's basically, if you want to do it, just do it. You want to play in a bar? Play in a bar. Want to DJ? DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Put on a show. Put on a show. Teenage kids putting on all this punk rock show, right?
Yeah.
Anything was possible. You're a spoken word artist. Let's do a spoken word night, you know? I don't know if there was any other small town like that. Or
Yeah.
it is still, I don't know. You know, this is pre-internet, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very welcoming.
As an immigrant, were you informed by any of the like socio-political climate?
Well, let's see. 1990, coming to Evergreen, home of environmental terrorists, right?
Uh-huh.
Was when the whole Gulf was happening. The big thing was the Gulf War, all the candle video demonstration, anti-Bush. Yeah, what else was that? Whole Salman Rushdie thing was a big topic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's still going on. So, whole diversity, equity, and freedom of speech, all of that fun stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. The awareness of social issues, and pretty much everyone around us were all liberal, right? Surrounded by all this Republican part of Washington. We have this like a little dot of Seattle, and Olympia has this little cocoon of liberal-minded people. Those are always on mine. Yeah, and then the whole AIDS prevention thing was really big too in 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's an Olympia Needle Exchange. There was this nonprofit called Olympia Needle Exchange. It was really...
It was groundbreaking.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
David. I was just thinking of him yesterday. It's always working really hard to promote the awareness, free condom, a needle exchange. Yeah.
Long hair Dave.
Yeah. Do you remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Did a lot of good work for the community.
Yeah, he did.
Did you experience much racism in the community, or
I don't
adjacent to the community that you were aware of?
I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to tell. Because when you think about it, yes, Olympia, the scene, talking about scene, like outside Olympia, yeah, of course, there's a bunch of those hicks around here.
Mm-hmm.
Redneck, kill all redneck pricks, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But even in the scene, I do feel, now that I'm a little older, when I look back on the stuff, there's definitely Caucasian central scene. And then when you're non-Caucasian, it's very, not really sticks out, but you can count them. You can count Asians. You can count African Americans, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there was anything negative or hostile toward us, or at least toward me. But, you know, sometimes I might not want to use the word racism, but those awareness can be very subtle and subversive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Or maybe like kind of ignorant, insensitive.
So I think I personally did feel a little bit out of it, even though I was in the middle of the scene.
Yeah.
Just never felt that part of the clique. So I know that could be me, my personality, my personal, and there was no any incident that I can remember giving me the reason to feel alienated. But I still did. It's because there was no Asian community within the Olympia music scene.
Mm.
And I think it's part of what reason why
That was your band.
I bonded with Michiko,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I mean, I guess Tay was here, the kicking giant, but Tay is like, he's like an angel. So that man is like so above everything and so nice. So as much as I was a part of this Olympia music scene or whatever, I felt I wasn't part of it. You know what I'm saying?
You were involved.
I was involved.
But you were doing your thing.
And I was very good friends with key people like Pat Mary, Calvin Johnson, OFS. There was OFS director at the time named Patty Kovacs. He played a very big role in all this. Yeah. I was friends with them, but as a singles, to me, yeah, it didn't feel like it was home too. Yeah. So that's why when we decided to leave Olympia, we didn't really miss it. Yeah.
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 You did that and it was time to move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you stayed in Seattle ever since?
Yeah. Well, I had a little detour in LA for a few years.
Right. You mentioned that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, mostly.
Pat recommended I bring up an event that falls within our timeline, playing at Safeco Field right after the Mariners lost a playoff game to the Yankees days after 9/11.
Yeah, that's days after 9. It was that time too, huh? Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. I think people in the Seattle who are organizing this Mariners party because they were going to playoff, right? It was supposed to be victory party, but big party and they wanted the musical act. And I think they reached out to Pat if he know of any Japan theme or Japanese affiliated bands. So he recommended us, and then we got a call. So they're going to play this party. It's like, yeah, sure. And it was really weird. Yeah, this event producing company, not very nice people, but they paid us. And then when we were like, okay, we get to meet each other, great. But then they lost that game. And then that was, I think it was a tiebreaker, and then they ended up losing it big time. And then, so none of the players came.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was all just a Mariners employee party. They were all sad and just getting drunk, and it was a terrible, terrible gig. Yeah.
What a vibe.
Yeah. But I still have that sticker on my guitar amp from a Safeco. Also, we have so many of those weird gigs. And it's always that theremin always is a big hit. It's like, what is that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what part of Olympia sticks with you, if anything?
I think it really is what we just talked about. That it was a magical time in Olympia, harnessing creativity and that feeling of just do it. You can do it. You want to do it, do it. And then there's enough support on all that, whatever that is, you know? And then, yeah, that was a perfect place to be in a perfect, right time, right place to be in the right time of my life in 20s, yeah. I would love my kid to go to Evergreen.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to say it too much because if I do it, she won't. So, yeah.
Don't want to be overbearing about your influence.
That's true.
But yeah. Maybe just a quick visit someday.
I know now they are trying to shut it down, right? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it was a good time. And I'm really appreciate your project of putting this on the record. All of this has to be told. Yeah.
Yeah. Your voice is just such a welcome contribution. That was lovely. And yeah, thanks again, Kento.
All right. So thank you.
This has been Low Profile with Markley Morrison. The song you're hearing right now is called Puka, performed by the band Iku. It was recorded at the Crocodile Cafe on November 19, 2005. Today, we listened to a special radio edit of my interview with the musician Kento Oiwa for the Olympia Music History Project, a nonprofit dedicated to preserving firsthand stories of Olympia's influential music scene. More stories connected to this one can be found at olympiamusichistory.org, and all previous episodes of Low Profile can be found at lowprofilepodcast.com. Until next time, thanks for listening, and don't forget to share this episode with a friend. Love ya!